welcome. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now. I'm Kavita Thapliyal and with me is Srishti Sharma from ET Now SBI Live Studio. And Srishti, what a day. After 2 days of losing session, today we are seeing the market above 25,300. Clearly PSU Bank and Reality are topping the chart. In fact, even defense counters are up. So a bullish momentum across the sectors. In fact, all the sectors almost are in green. So a good day we can say, or maybe the beginning of festivities finally reflecting in the market, Srishti.
Indeed, Kavita. Very good moves coming in, and just after that volatile session yesterday, the kind of move that Nifty and Nifty Bank is showing is indeed comforting, and the kind of fall that India VIX is showing right now, that indeed is comforting too, because that's there we are getting to see a 5% decline, definitely giving the charge to all the bulls out there. But let's tell you what are the stock specific action today, because you can't take your eyes off from the IT space. Not just the large cap IT companies, the mid cap IT companies are definitely doing well. Other than that, the life insurance counters and even the insurance basket after ICICI numbers is definitely doing well. Other than that, we are seeing some of these counters within the financials bucking up the trend of the banking space right now. Select Adani group of counters, select pharma names, so all across the board we are getting to see that kind of cheer in the markets, and the breadth of the market too when it comes to the mid and small end of the market, that is also doing well. And one of the major factors is actually the earnings. No major disappointment till date, especially from the IT pack. Majority of the numbers are actually better than the street estimates, and the kind of plans that the company are coming out with, that indeed is also giving confidence to the investors. So that pocket is doing well. Select consumption names are definitely bucking up the trend, and even the large cap companies like L&T, Reliance, day after day we are seeing some of the other heavyweight is coming at the forefront and taking the index and supporting the index rather. So that's the construct of the market. Definitely we are waiting by to see when the FIs will return back to India, but the kind of discussions that we are having with our experts, they are definitely reflecting that the second half is expected to do better in the earnings, and the excitement is within the sectors as well. Kavita.
Right, so let's begin the show today, and so our Diwali special show is called Deal and No Deal. So everything stock specific will be helping our viewers understand if it's a buy call, sell call based on the deals explained by our experts. So let's get our experts connected. We have with us Kunal Bothra in the studio, and Narendra Solanki, Head Fundamental Research, Investment Services, Anand Rathi, Share and Stock Brokers. Hi, good morning and welcome to the show, both of you. And I think it's time to get connected with our viewers as well. We have Padma Sivara from Bengaluru on the phone line with us. Hi, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Wish you all happy Diwali.
Wish you the same.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Now, which one to buy, NSDL or CDSL for 3 years?
For 3 years.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I believe you have a lot of other stocks also in your portfolio. Are you making? Are you in profits?
Yes, I have too many shares because I'm handling from 16 years.
Oh, 15 years. Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
So you're like a hardcore investor. Is that true?
Hardcore trader, and
trader.
I am following it now from the day one.
Oh, lovely. Thank you so much for that. And okay, so let's ask Narendra about this. NSDL or CDSL for 3 years. That's a time horizon.
Yeah, good morning. And first of all, very happy Diwali to you and your viewers. First, the disclaimer, we do not have active recommendation on both these stocks, but let me just touch up on the industry front. So as a capital market intermediaries, we are positive on capital market as a theme. And if you look at overall play, the depository services business, if you see the new account additions has been pretty much strong, and still in terms of penetration, we are very low in terms of overall penetration of the investors, be it depository services or be it other ancillary services like mutual funds, etc. So both these stocks are well. Now coming to the comparison, I think CDSL is more of a retail kind of a play, while NSDL is more institutionalized play, and it is relatively smaller in comparison with the CDSL. So the growth runway and the pace of growth would be much higher for NSDL. But yeah, obviously the risk would be higher for the NSDL. So the viewer can compare with the return and risk which they want and decide on that front of view. We are positive on overall capital market theme.
All right, so that's the take coming in on CDSL as well as NSDL. But let's move on to another query. This query is coming in from Anjali from Chandigarh. She's holding Ixigo shares and currently making a profit of 15,000 rupees. Wants the advice that what to do with this particular counter. Will it be a deal to hold on to this particular stock, or a no deal in terms of booking profits? And Kunal, let me come to you, because this whole travel and tourism theme that has done so well in the markets of late, and people just talk about that it can go on, but can the movement in the stock price can go on?
It should go on. Good morning, first of all. My sense is that I think the names like Ixigo are very rare kind of chart patterns, because to see these stocks perform very well in the worst of the market times or in the height of extreme volatility indicates that you're looking at a different trend altogether for these stocks. And when in the last, I think 6 months or so, one and a half odd year, approximately start of 2025 thereabouts, I think you saw the stock which was trading at sub 150 mark, and now it's almost at 300. So it's done exceptionally well. I think that these are the kind of stocks which generally tend to do when the market continues to show signs of strength. And in case if we go into a breakout mode, say pretty soon in the next couple of months, we expect that stocks like Ixigo, they would continue to move up higher. So I think you may probably want to book out some profits over here in case if you are looking to shift to some other stock. But if not, then I think you should definitely look to make a hold on this investment and look out for this as a long-term play.
All right, so it's a long-term deal over here, but if in case you need the money, you can also do part profit book. All right, let's move on and let's take Shankar's question from Tuticorin. And Narendra, he's holding 10,000 shares of Utkarsh SFB at 2183. Okay, so what would you recommend? I think it's a near-term outlook that he might be wanting to know.
Yeah, again, on NBSV space, we are generally positive. We do not cover or have any active recommendation on this particular stock, but definitely the cycle is turning for the NBFCs, and the rate cuts we have seen. So the impact of those plus the GST reforms would be adding a second order impact, positive impact to the overall NBFC space. And I think from second half onwards, Q3 onwards, things should start shaping up, and NIMs would stabilize and start showing some improvement going ahead. So overall, we are positive on this space for medium to long term.
So it's a deal as far as the space is concerned. But then Kunal, any specific recommendation? The buying price is 2183.
See, you can hold on to the stock as of now, but then you have to understand that it's not a strong performer or a relatively strong performer from the entire sector. If I have to take a bet, and assuming if you're looking at these small price stocks, then I would actually recommend to try and look at Ujjivan Small Finance Bank. That's a better name, formidable chart. The stock has recovered quite well, trading above the long-term and the 50-day moving averages consistently over the last 6 months to 1 year, and has already gone through a massive correction, I think 2023-24, where the stock corrected more than 50% from its all-time high levels. So I think that in that sense, you have that slight advantage as well as an edge if the entire sector goes into a turnaround. So it depends on what time frame, what risk appetite you are looking out for. I would suggest that make a switch from Utkarsh towards Ujjivan Small Finance Bank. That would be a better bet. But in case if you just want to hold on to Utkarsh and try and let the stock come back to your cost price and then make that switch, even that's a good idea.
All right, so that's the take coming in on the small finance banks. But moving on to the next query, this coming in from Sandeep from Noida. And Narendra wants to have a take on Bajaj Consumers, because I remember that after that management rejig, the stock has seen such a big excitement because back from, I guess, from June, July onwards, there has been a one-way rally when it comes to Bajaj Consumers. When Sandeep has bought 100 shares at a price of 280 rupees, but he's still not at profits right now. Narendra, what's your advice over here?
Yeah, again, the consumer space, we are very positive. We do not have any active recommendation on this particular stock. But yeah, definitely post GST reforms and the kind of data we have seen so far for 10 to 15 days, the consumer response has been very upbeat. And we expect the consumption space to perform relatively better. And especially the urban market should show significant, decent volume improvements going ahead. So definitely, as a sector, the sector is quite positive for medium to long term. So in that case, he can continue to hold the stock.
That's the take on the consumption basket, but specifically on Bajaj Consumers, Kunal, if you can guide and help Sandeep, will that be a deal or no deal? Because I believe it's been in his portfolio for long now.
Yeah, it's been in this portfolio for long. 280 was, I think, maybe the last time the stock was in 2024 start, or maybe prior to that. Of course, the all-time high levels for the stock is, of course, 500. So I'm not sure what's your time horizon you've been holding on to, but no, I definitely believe that it's a deal. You should hold on to Bajaj Consumers. You look at it this way: the last two, so this is the third consecutive quarter of price uptrend. The last two consecutive quarters where the stock has moved up higher. The stock has clocked one of the best volumes it has seen over the last 4 to 5 years on quarterly basis cumulatively. So that's a very strong indicator that you are looking at a potential turnaround of sorts for the stock price. And there is bound to be a point where the stock goes into phase of pause also in between. Since your buy price is not very high, I would suggest that you can continue to hold on. I would believe that potentially over the next 3 years plus kind of a time frame, you might even look at targets of 400 to 450 on the stock.
All right, so it's a deal over here. You're recommended to hold on, and target of 400 also possible. But then yes, you have time horizon and you just need to have some patience. But then let's move on. We have a live viewer, Pankaj Rawal from Haryana on the phone line. Hi Pankaj, good morning.
Hello, ma'am. Good morning and good morning, sir. My question is Oil India 2400 share at the rate 540
Okay.
and BSC share to 2823
Okay.
100 share.
Okay.
Please suggest me, ma'am.
All right. Okay, so what's the time frame you're looking at, Pankaj? For how long you want to?
Ma'am, short term. October 22, 2024, I bought the stock.
Okay. Even Tata Motors?
Yes, ma'am. Tata Motor मैंने लिया था मैम 1140 और
1140.
443 share.
Okay. All right. So 2 to 3 months outlook. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
All right. Kunal, I'll come to you for all the three counters. Tata Motors, 1140.
So I'll start off with Oil India. I think since you purchased at 500 plus levels, I would suggest that just hold on to the stock. As of now, it's not a great chart as such, frankly, but I believe that somewhere down the line, once the market brews into that zone of confidence, you might see Oil India also coming back to that 500 levels. The only question here is that you might have to be a little bit more patient and don't look at this as a 2 to 3 month kind of a time horizon. The stock has a lot of potential, but somehow, there are points and zones in markets where even high potential stocks, they may not perform at that time span when you want them to perform. But I believe that All India is a deal in that sense. BSC, I strongly believe that you should hold on to the stock because it's converted, or rather it's come back from a major retracement or a corrective phase. A 30% correction the stock has already seen in the last, I think, 6 months or so, from 3000 levels to 2000 mark. I actually believe that maybe if the stock corrects towards 20 to 2400 zone, you can look to even average further. Tata Motors, now the big question is that how strong can the stock make a comeback, especially after the demerger? So I think you might have to just adjust your prices over there. But I would assume that your cost price would now be closer to 800, thereabouts, 800, 850. If you can look to average the stock, in case if it dips down to say 360, 350 mark, then you have a better chance of trying to come back into cost or profits over the next 3 months or so.
So that's the clear advice. We have our experts with us, and the next query that I have is coming in from Bala from Chennai. He needs a view on Gravita as well as Strides Pharma. Kunal, let me take it from you. Both of these counters, we don't discuss much on the show. Gravita as well as Strides Pharma. How do you see the stocks? Because he didn't share that at what price he has bought, whether or not he already has it in the portfolio. But what's your sense?
See, I believe that both of these charts, Gravita as well as Strides Pharma, I think are going through a corrective phase. It's been a very slow, gradual correction for both of these stocks. Strides, for example, from I think 950, 960, in 2025 start or mid somewhere Feb March 2025. From there it's corrected towards 800 levels, and now it's on the verge of breaking below the previous supports. So I believe in that context, I would just suggest that don't look to buy the stock at current levels, and in case if you've already bought, just hold on to these stocks and let this corrective wave complete, because my sense that this could probably be at least a 3 to 6 months of an underperformance, looking at the structure of the last 6-8 months of the price correction into both of these names.
All right, so recommended to hold on. Let's move on. We've got Rema on the phone line with us from Nilgiris. Rema, hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, you can ask your question.
Yeah, see, I just wanted to know on S Bank, okay, because I just wanted to invest in, if it's the right time to invest in S Bank, because now
Yes
I'm seeing
Bank,
the price
okay.
like,
Okay, and what will be your time horizon for short term?
yeah, maybe for 1 year.
1 year. Okay.
Yes.
Any other question?
Yeah, and I'm holding 250 shares of Redington at the price of 167.
Okay.
So let me know if I can book my profit, or can I hold it for more
Sure.
time, that's what.
Sure. Do you need the money?
No, I'm not in need of money.
Okay.
But just wanted to know whether I can hold, or should I
Sure.
book the profit and shift to some other stocks.
All right, because your
now
buying price is
there are lots
fantastic,
of-
167, and yes, you'll be in profit on those counters. But then, Narayan, let me just come to you. Are these counters on your radar, Mr. Narendra?
Redington, we don't have active recommendation, but Yes Bank, we are not very positive on the stock. Instead, if the user wants to remain invested in banking sector, then they can choose to go with Indian Bank, which we are very positive on. If they want to invest in smaller banks, and if larger banks are preferred, then SBI is our preferred pick, and in private banks, ICICI is our preferred pick.
All right, so that's the take coming in on both of these names. But Kunal, if you can help specifically with your view on Yes Bank.
See, I think from a short-term view, it makes sense to switch to better private sector banking names. I believe ICICI Bank and HDFC Bank are better performers, more stable charts. I mean, I'm not sure if you're okay with having a very high beta stock in your portfolio, which could move 30-40% in any kind of a swing. I think in that aspect, I would actually suggest that make a switch towards ICICI Bank or HDFC Bank. They could be far better bets, more stable charts, and due for a breakout on the longer term basis.
All right, let's move on and let's take Chetan's question. Again, he's from Bangalore. And Kunal, Concord Biotech of 60 shares at the average price of 1730. And he wants to know whether he can accumulate investments up to 150 to 200 shares, as in can he increase the quantity out there, and he's planning to hold this for more than 2 years.
See, I think at current levels, you can look to buy the stock. The only case is that momentum is missing into the stock price since the last, I think, 1.5 odd year. There was only a point, I think, 2024 mid somewhere, where the stock in matter of, I think, 5-6 weeks had moved up from 1600 to 2600 plus mark. But post that, there has hardly been any major sign of momentum into the stock price. Consistently, it's been making pattern of lower highs. So I think that's the only missing point for the stock price, because these are the kind of stocks which grind more and they trend less. So I think in that sense, you may probably have to increase your time horizon. Price wise, I would agree that I think at 1500 levels, it's a good support point for Concord Biotech. So price wise, you may look to average further, but my only concern is the time horizon. If you're okay holding on to or extending your time horizon, then it makes sense to do that.
All right, the next query, Narendra, that I have is coming in from Ignitis from Kolkata. He's holding 10 shares of HDFC AMC. Buy price is 5,186 rupees. He's in profits right now, but till what time should he hold it? Good to hold for the next 2 years. Any target on this one?
I think broadly as a space, the capital market space, especially the AMCs, have shown a good return and a lot of run-up. From a longer term perspective, the space should continue to grow. So there's no doubt about it. As we see the kind of SIP inflows coming into the markets, and there's a lot of headroom for the growth. So I can you can continue to remain invested for longer terms.
All right, let's move on. And specific query coming in for Kunal. And Tushar is holding ITC at 202 and it's falling non-stop. He wants to know that should he exit or stay put in this counter?
Stay put into the counter. I think ITC, when you look at the last 3 years, the stock has gone through a range. So from I think 400 to 500 or 495 thereabouts. I don't remember the exact high for the stock in 2024 mid. But I think largely it's been grinding to this 20% range. And we know that ITC is a stock which tends to go into a 20%, 25% kind of a range for years before the stock comes back into a breakout mode. So it's just one of those phases for ITC. I actually believe that it's come back to as a good support point. So if your buy price is on the higher side, you may try to use this correction or dip to try and average out further. Look at this stock as a long-term investment and don't try and expect trading rallies into the stock price. That's the only change of expectation which you may have to have into the stock like ITC.
All right.
All right, that's about ITC, but the viewer just got connected with us on WhatsApp. He's saying that it's ITC Hotels and not ITC. Kunal, a quick take on this one.
Yeah, I think ITC Hotel, I would actually believe is a good stock to hold on to, even though the chart history is limited, but I've tracked the stock from 150, 60 levels to moving towards 250 plus mark. It was on the back of higher volumes. The selling which you're seeing right now is on the back of much lower volumes. So which means it's more like a mean reversion or coming back to the the midpoints of the trading rally. I would actually suggest that you should look to hold on to the stock. In case if it drops down to 190 to 200 range, look to average further.
Okay, next question is coming from Satyan, and Narendra, he's holding Berger Paints at 573 and he's asking whether he can hold on to this counter for almost a year.
Right now we are not very constructive on this stock, so we do not have a buy recommendation. Instead, we have sell recommendation. And if you see overall, the paint industry is going with a lot of competitive intensity, and the pricing power is not very much in control with a lot of companies. And due to that, we are seeing intense competition from the new players. So I think this may continue for another, let's 2-3 more quarters until we see some stability coming back to the sector. So I think he can exit the stock and find another opportunities in different stocks.
Right, Kunal, any specific technical view?
See, Berger Paints, Asian Paints are the stocks which have literally not done anything over the last 4-5 years. 2022, I think same time 2022, the stock was at 500, 530 and now almost ending 2025, you're almost at this 500 to 530 mark. So that's the only concern with stocks like Berger Paint. They may do very well, but then for that you need to have a huge amount of patience for these stocks to perform and give you exceptional returns. That's the only concern with investing or adding more quantity for a stock like Berger Paint. But if you have that, then I believe that makes sense to average or add your holdings at current levels. But if not, then I think it makes sense to switch to some other sectors. We've been discussing that I think differentiated sectors like private sector banking names, PSU banking stocks, defense names, they could be far better bets purely in terms of momentum and timing.
All right, that's the take coming in on Berger Paints. But Narendra, the next query that we have is coming in from OSN Reddy from Hyderabad. The query is on Torrent Power. If you have any coverage, help us with what to do with this counter. Is that an exit or add more at these levels? For now, he is holding 50 shares and buy price is 1,300 rupees.
Yeah, right now we do not have any active recommendation on the stock.
But Kunal, what's your take on this one? He's a long-term holder. Will that be a deal to hold on to this one or a no deal and avoid?
See, I strongly believe that it's a deal at current levels because you have to give credit to a stock which has done 10x in a matter of I think 4-5 years and then going through a correction. So it's like a rally of 10x and then a mean reversion where you try and cover up the excesses which gets created into the stock price. Look at it this way: from 2000, the stock has corrected towards 1200 or 1150. I don't remember the exact low, but I think that was the range for Torrent Power where the stock has gone through a correction. So after a retracement of almost 40% from the highs, you're bound to see a point where the stock comes back towards an attractive risk reward. I think those levels more or less are there for Torrent Power. I would suggest a buy. And if you've already bought, then I think it's a good level where you can look to even average around the 1200 mark.
Right, if you've bought, average around 1200 mark, otherwise it's a good question. This is coming from Mr. Venkat Rao from Vishakhapatnam, and he's a long-term investor, Kunal. He wants to know the right time to enter Poonawalla FinCorp and HAL for a time period of 6 months.
See, I think you may not get a right time to enter into the stock price because these stocks are into a very strong and a ferocious uptrend. So I think Poonawalla FinCorp, something from 400 or sub 400 mark, I think has moved towards 500, 520 very swiftly. Even in this phase, very recently when the stock has moved above the 500 mark, there is hardly any phase of a major correction into the stock price. So I suggest that you could probably look to buy say 25%, 50% of your quantity at current price and wait for minor dips like a 15 to 20 point odd dip from their swing highs or from your cost price. That actually becomes a good zone where you may look to average further. That's the best way to try and dip into these names. Same would be the case with HAL. I think these stocks are going through both HAL and BEL, the more formidable names in the entire defense category, and these stocks have done reasonably well. Current levels also, I would suggest that you can look to have a similar strategy where you buy say a 50% chunk at current levels and then wait out for minor dips to try and average the balance 50%.
All right, that's the take coming in on some of the defense counters. But the next query that I have is coming in from a viewer named Chandra from Mysore, holding 10,000 shares of Hindustan Copper accumulated over the last 3 years. Narendra, any take on this one? His average buy price is 182 rupees. Good to hold on, exit, and maybe go ahead and invest in some other counter.
Yeah, as far as recommendation is concerned, we have no active recommendation on the stock. But if you see lately, the metals and commodities have performed really well, and the kind of upside we have seen right now, I think most of the upside has been already been taken, priced in, and there should be some cooling off happening in near term. So I think it's better to switch to different sectors or different stocks for near to medium term.
That's the take coming in on Hindustan Copper and specifically the metal pack. But Kunal, if you can talk levels on this one. Narendra just talked about the fundamental factors that could be at play, but what are your thoughts on the stock price?
You know, the best part about this, Srishti, is that the investor has been holding on to the stock for the last hour. It's been accumulating. Yes. Hindustan Copper is not your typical banking name or etc. That's low beta and then you gradually accumulate. So I'm sure that you have a plan when you're looking to invest or accumulate into the stock. I actually believe that there could be a major cyclical breakout which you can expect for many of the commodity related themes. We all know that what's happened to various commodity asset classes across the globe, and especially the move which even commodities like copper has seen in the last few months. So I think in that aspect, I would suggest a hold on Hindustan Copper. And if the longer term trends play out the way I anticipate, then you might see much higher levels even beyond 450 to 500 potentially over the next 1 to 2 years.
Okay, so it's a deal for long term, and you're recommended to hold on to it. Let's move on. And Narendra, this question is from Tanay, Vancouver, Canada, and he's saying that he's holding Varun Beverage 1000 quantity at the rate of 62. How long should he wait for the stock to perform almost 10x of his profit?
See, in near term, the stock is seeing some competition in the domestic market, but the company has expanded into geographies outside of India, especially the Asian market and African market. So we are positive on the stock for medium to long term. And as the competitive intensity settles down in India, I think the stock is good to go for medium to long term. So we continue to hold. We are positive on the stock as well as on the sector as well for medium to long term.
That's the take coming in on Varun Beverages. Let's watch out for that. But Kunal, the next query is actually a bit of a longish query coming in from Satish from Bangalore, where he's saying that he's looking to deploy a significant amount of money and he's a bit nervous to take that leap of faith forward and invest in the stock market right now. He wants to deploy his saving in the 2 to 3 stocks or maybe more, but for the next 5 years. A little bit of a longish list as well that he has in mind. L&T, SBI, TVS Motors, BEL, Reliance and CDSL are some of the stocks that he's looking forward to. Your take on any of the preferred bets from this, any additions that you want to make?
See, I can't add more to this fantastic list. It's already a very good list.
Yeah,
When you have such kind of names, you may probably look to add maybe few private sector banking
No, he
stocks.
doesn't have this in portfolio. He's looking to
I know. But so
Okay.
in the list, you can look to add few private sector banking names as potential. See, because we've seen India as a growth story over the last 20 years that financials has played a major part, and specifically private sector banking names and to a certain extent PSU banking stocks of late. So financials or private sector banking stocks have also to be a part of your core portfolio and make sense to go with the larger cap names. And yeah, I think you should not hesitate. In fact, this is the real market, what we've seen in the last 6 months to 1 year, that it's more stock specific. You get your opportunity, you get your time to try and buy into quality stocks. I think you should not miss out on this opportunity, especially if you're looking at this as a long-term investment.
Any 2 or 3 stocks to hold on to 5 years from this current list?
See, L&T is excellent in terms of, it's the India growth story which we look out for.
Right.
BEL is a classic defense play. You may look at HDFC Bank or ICICI Bank, the top bets over here. I think those are classical names which you can try and bifurcate.
All right, interesting names, and hope that helps you with your query. But with this, we are completely timed out in this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. Thank you so much, Narendra. Thank you so much, Kunal, for taking the time out and speaking with us this afternoon. But it's a goodbye from me and Kavita and the entire team who put the show together. Thank you.